What is going on, everybody? My name is Jacob Rickwalt.
I'm Mark Schiffler.
This is Racing Solutions underneath the umbrella of NASCAR Paradise. Mark and I have talked about multiple times of saying, okay, we do NASCAR Paradise, we do the podcast, we talk about all kinds of NASCAR content, but this Racing Solutions thing is for you fans to say and come in and hang out with us and that kind of thing. And we talk about kind of some things that need to be talked about besides our normal podcast of how to solve things. And Mark, man, how's it been going? We tried getting on yesterday. You had some problems. We had some problems here too, and it's glad to be finally be on.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of uh, personal life things. Unfortunately, my wife's aunt is not doing too well. She's about 74 years old. She's had bone cancer for the last 6 months, and the last week and a half, her health has took a turn. So right now, she's sitting in hospice care. So you guys want to say any prayers, that'll be much appreciated. Thank you.
So yeah, our family's praying for you at this time. Appreciate you saying that too. So it's been it's been hard. It's like losing family members or stuff like that is not fun at all. Especially when they are everything to you. So yeah, if you guys could shoot some messages throughout the week as fans. Sending prayers to his family, that'd be much appreciated. From Racing Solutions to NASCAR Paradise, that'd be much appreciated. Um, so this weekend, they went to Sonoma, and my mom's kind of the one that's kind of like, I hate watching road course races, the kind of thing. Like I would never pay to go watch a road course race. And I'm in a different way, if it's the, you know, if it's Indy Road Course, if it's the Charlotte Roval, I'm going to that Roval race, so it's a little bit different now with the next gen car. Next gen cars were trained and developed to be, the road course car,
Yeah,
the road course king.
they're based off of EMSA cars. It's basically a sports car. It's no longer a stock car; it's a sports car. It for all the older generations out there. I'm sorry to burst the bubble, but yeah, we are looking at a sports car, stock car. Um, yeah, that there's last this year and last year it's independent rear suspension. No more single axle rear end. No more truck arms, no more track bar, nothing. It's independent rear suspension based off of the EMSA cars. And that's why we're seeing these road courses differently now. If you look at the previous generation, the Gen 6 and the Gen 5s going around Sonoma, they're sliding all over the place. You couldn't get off of turn 4A without being sideways and then someone passing you.
Right.
Um, your passing zones was 4A, turn 7, and turn 11. Well, now the way these cars are handling, 4A is no longer a passing zone. Turn 7 is somewhat of a passing zone, but if you
Depends what kind of run you got.
yeah, it depends on your run. I mean, it's like Martinsville. You mess up, you downshift a gear, and you're off, and you recouped what you missed. Turn 11 is always going to be a passing zone, no matter what. But it all depends on how you dive bomb it. You got to watch out for those tire barrels.
Yeah. And what's the point too? What you said is that the cars right behind us that's here in this background that we give you guys here on Racing Solutions is these are the old cars that Mark is talking about that, they slide all the way around the track. They slide through the road courses. Um, these next gen cars, they don't slide as much. When they kind of got out, when they got in about into turn 11, or down the turn 11 where about pit road is at, when they come down the straight chute and it's just that long straight, when they get out of that turn, when they take a right hand turn and then they swing wide going left, and they hit that little rumble strip. Some of those cars are sideways at the end of those runs. So it's crazy to see a next gen car kind of go a little bit sideways. I'm not saying that it's older gen car sideways, but so these next gen cars are a lot more durable. A lot more tough. They're a lot different than these Gen 6, Gen 5 cars that, man, they just got beat up. Like, you hit somebody, you're done. You hit the wall, you're done. These next gen cars, you hit something, oh, it's like hitting a mailbox going across the side of the street with a brush guard on it. It's just like they hit these tire barriers. And Mark and I were talking about before we got on, it's just like 3 to 4 inches, they shouldn't call a caution. But now if they're getting in the way of safety vehicles, now that should be a caution. It's just common sense.
Yeah, and I agree. And the way that they were racing in turn 11, I noticed there was at one point one of the tire barrels was completely out of its circle where it was supposed to be sitting, and a lot of the drivers were shortcutting the track. Well, NASCAR was being very lenient on that because that does enforce a penalty because you are shortcutting the track. Like we've seen Tyler Reddick do, which we'll talk more in depth on it tomorrow. But I mean, he had he was smart on that. I give him props for doing that. Even though he did, get a course shortcutting the course penalty. I mean, he had a flat tire coming out of 11. You seriously going to go around the whole entire track?
Cause a caution.
Throwing tire debris everywhere. Yeah, I would have took the penalty too. And kudos to Tyler Reddick.
Now, what's the point here, though, is he went off the road, off the course itself, right? He went off the track surface to another old track surface is what I guess it was, or an off-track ramp or whatever.
What he did was he waited for all the cars to go around. He went through the little area. I think it's a drag strip now. It used to back in the early 90s, that little area used to be another pit road.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that used to be an old pit road for the slow qualifiers. I think there used to be like 8 or 9 cars that sat there.
Really? So, for the slow qualifiers?
Yeah, it's for the backmarker teams that were slow in qualifying. They called it Gilligan's Island.
Really?
Yeah. So what he did was he waited for the cars to go. He cut across, went to the little short chute and right into the pits. So, I mean.
But okay, listen, and I know NASCAR's got to give him something because he went backwards on the track, but he really went on an old pit road that's not being really used other than I think the pace car, maybe. I think the pace car goes on there. But, okay, if he's nice enough to get out of the pace car and get out of the safety people's way, why is it, and we're just going to talk about this today, because, it's enough. Like, NASCAR, like, why? Why are you going to give him a penalty when the cars are all past him and they got to go through another 11 turns to get back to him, and he's out of harm's way? It's just, I don't understand it. It's like, yes, he went backwards in the track, went somewhere he's not supposed to go, but as a fan, as somebody that's controlling the race, why would you penalize somebody for going backwards and getting off the track and not causing a caution than causing a caution? It's like,
I agree. You didn't need to give him a shortcutting the track penalty because he's already penalized himself for doing what he did.
Right.
So, I disagree with NASCAR on that. He should have. He already penalized himself. I mean, he had the flat tire. Uh, he went back in the pits to fix his tire. He's already penalized himself. No need for another penalty because by the time he got done, they were pretty much already coming back. Who was leading at the time?
I think Martin.
Yeah, Martin. He was already coming back around turn 7.
You, you know what? It's just like, okay, you already know he has a tire down. Are we going to make him go all the way around the car, all the way around the track, ruin the car? Or are you going to make him just say, okay, you can do this one time thing? Or if
Yeah,
somebody, okay, or if it's just somebody that wrecks in that spot or has a tire that goes down and they can't make it all the way around the track and we're still green, they should be able to allow somebody to do that. I know
right.
backwards is not NASCAR's ideal thing, but why make somebody go around the track another
Well,
2 miles,
backwards is not NASCAR's ideal thing. I mean, don't we do the Indy road course backwards?
Well, I mean, road courses just are backwards. But what I'm trying to say is, though, is like the the way of the traffic that the NASCARs were going in the right direction, he went in the wrong direction backwards on this road course to get back to the pit road. And that's why they penalized him, is because he went backwards. And that's the thing that's pissed me off, kind of thing, is why you're penalizing somebody when they're out of harm's way and they're trying to make sure this race stays green for all the fans that want to see maybe an exciting race if something was heating up. Like there's battles all the way around the track. Like why penalize somebody for getting out of
Already,
harm's way? You
and
know?
already penalizing himself. Yeah, because he, like I said, he already penalized himself, so he did the right thing. The other thing that could have happened was, as he was going around the track, there'd be tire debris everywhere. Uh, that rim looked like it was locked up. So there, I mean, there was probably the tire carcass was probably locked up in the wheel well somehow, and it was going to be stuck there. So the rim was going to grind for what's the length of the Sonoma, 2.5 miles,
I think so.
something like that. You're going to grind down the rim for 2.5 miles, cause a loose rim, and penalize crew members that had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
It's just something that's just like, it's just like, why are you penalizing somebody for that? It's just like, let's say like if Dale Earnhardt Jr. did that, would he get penalized? Probably not.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
he would. They would send a president.
I'm trying to look for the road course link. I can't find it. I'm trying to find it on the fly and I can't find it. Um,
It's all right.
it's probably two point something miles long. It's
Yeah,
11 torn. It's 11, turns for crying out loud. It's just like,
but I am the one thing I am glad with Sonoma that they are doing the short shoot on 4A and not doing the carousel. That I didn't like the carousel when they brought it back a few years ago. It There's nowhere to pass there. They took a passing zone away just to add the carousel, and there's no passing there until you if you had a good run off the carousel, you could come up the that straightaway to turn 7. But I I didn't like the carousel. I like the short shoot better. And speaking of the short shoot in 4A, this is something NASCAR needs to fix. Don't paint the entire runoff. I understand there's advertising there. There was advertising there for DoorDash. Paint the DoorDash logo. Have the rumble strips, then leave that little runoff area that comes to the wall alone.
right?
The paint gave them too much grip, and that's what took the passing zone away from 4A.
Uh, I just think okay. So if Sonoma was supposed to change, okay, and this is just hypothetical. You know, let's see a chicane. You know, I know some people aren't too big on the chicanes, but let's see like at least one chicane at at Sonoma. It could be something that's just on the gas, off the gas, in the chicane.
Well, there kind of is a chicane. It's off of it's as you come off of turn 7, they bear right and then bear left back to the S's because there is a little strip in the road course. Or if you want to, cut away the chicane, they can go straight to the S's. So
Right.
there is a chicane there.
But do they call it a chicane though?
No, but
They should.
it's a big, long, sweeping chicane, so that it's not one you're like the bus stop at
Watkins.
Walking Line.
Yeah, we let's see something like that. Like Watkins Glen performs great races. I don't care if it's a trucks. I don't care if it's Xfinity. I don't care if it's Cup. They put on a
Well,
better show than Sonoma,
it,
hands
it,
down, 110%.
well, if you listen to the Dale Jr. download, he talked about the old schedule where there was just the two road courses.
Mm-hmm.
You had, Sonoma was always like the short track uh, type road course, where Watkins Glen is more of the super speedway road
Right.
course. You have more speed going into the turns.
And I listened to Ryan Blaney on that Dale Jr. download, the newest one. You guys got to go watch it.
Well,
It's
that
it's
was
great.
last week. Last
Yeah,
week.
last week's for the 600. You
Yeah.
guys got to go watch it. It's the newest. I think it's the newest one out. I think the latest
No,
episode.
he, no, he had 3 this week. So or not last
Really?
week. So okay, Ryan Blaney's was 2 weeks ago. Last week was Kelly Earnhardt's business of racing, or whatever she called her the podcast.
Yep.
And then this week, Junior had a 2-part series. So Wednesday and today, Thursday, with Richie Gilmore.
Oh wow. But I just kind of put on. We had Peacock, and it's awesome. You get to watch a lot of stuff. You can find a package deal. I think my mom found Disney Plus, Peacock, and like ESPN Plus for package deal, and I think it's under $20 a month. So you can get 3 different subscriptions, like for $20. But anyways, I was on Peacock today, and I was like, kind of almost dozing off, and I was like, I gotta stay awake. I got CrossFit in a little bit that's been kicking my ass, and I was like, hey, let's go watch something. So I watched Ryan Blaney's after he won, and I was just like, you know, Brett's so cool to mention that like Ryan Blaney's saying that this next gen car needs more horsepower, and the side drafts they don't work anymore. Like to make a car like loose, it doesn't work. Like the older gen cars, like you could get right up against them and you can make them loose going in the corner entry. You can't do that. Corner entry and exit, you can't do that.
So
And
the
it's crazy.
reason behind that there's no side draft anymore is because that rear quarter panel is shorter. And if you look, you could barely tell in the background picture, but there's more area there. On if you look at the Love's car, that's not Todd Gillen. I can't remember who did the 38 that year.
McDowell,
No, he's always been in the 34 when he was with.
David Reagan.
It might have been Reagan. That the quarter panel is long, and if you look, right now I want to get some die casts out to show the difference, but now's not the time. But the rear quarter panel is shorter on the next gen cars, and that's the whole reason why there's no side drafting anymore.
Which I wish it was back, but oh well.
and that's why we don't have the runs that they do that we see normally at the super speedways.
Right. We got a comment in from a fan, Matthew Aaron Young, sent that in at 9:33 p.m. What are both of your thoughts on the Chicago Street Course race coming up? What's your
Hmm.
thoughts? Like, put it all out there. Let's hear it.
So I'm in the Chicagoland area. I live about 45 minutes southeast of Chicago. I'm basically in Joliet, so I'm like in the backyard of Chicagoland Speedway. I can leave my house and make it to Chicagoland in 20 minutes. I don't know. I'm hoping it's a good race. Hopefully, it's better than the iRacing we seen in 2020 during the pandemic. That was horrendous. Um,
Besides Matt DiBenedetto in his underwear.
anyway, I'm hoping for a good race. I don't with the new mayor of Chicago. I don't see the 3-year contract playing out, regardless if it's a dud or if it's spectacular. Because he did say he was going to look into the contract and make sure it's good for Chicago. Um, but like I said, I'm hoping for a good race. I don't care who wins as long as it's not Joey Logano or Denny Hamlin. Um, but I mean, the way the track layout is, it looks pretty decent. I know by working in the city a lot, there has been a lot of construction around that area to prep for the race. So the streets are newly paved because there was a lot of potholes there. Um, I know there's going to be a lot of traffic in the next coming weeks because of the road closures. Uh, that and I know I heard that there's a walking path around the lake, and the Lakeshore Drive portion of the race course, they're not shutting it down. So anybody that's walking the path can stand there for the entirety of the race, both races, and watch for free. Um, I mean, NASCAR can't really do anything about that because it's a city thing. It's not a NASCAR thing. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of Chicago police there telling people to, move along because, I mean, it is a walking path. There's a lot of cyclists and a lot of walkers and joggers and scooter riders. But
You can have Mark with his chair.
I'll probably be there with my chair. No, I won't. If I go, I would get a ticket, but I cannot justify $300 for a full weekend. I mean, I know it counts both races and 4 concerts, but I really can't justify $300 per person for the entire weekend.
Yeah, that is a lot of money. Mark,
That,
why not just try? Why not
that's
just try? What do you say, Mark?
that's after taxes.
Oh, after taxes. Okay. What? Why not just put your chair up there and say, "Hey, I'm going to do this." I mean, I don't. I'm not a big person on the path or this or that because I live in a little city with around 2,000, maybe 3,000 people now. I'm not a big city guy like you are. Um,
I'm not a big city guy. I live in the suburbs.
yeah, right. Chicago, Illinois is my butt. But anyways, so I mean, if I'm there, I'm watching the street race. I'm putting my chair up there. I'm gonna have a good time. People can go around me. People can walk around me. I don't care. I'm sitting there with my lawn chair. I'm pitching a fight with those cops. I'm saying, look, you move my chair and you can win. So I'm like, I'm winning this fight. Like that's the way it was like in COVID. Um, I want to go to Michigan International Speedway, and I just told you that podcast. I said I just want to go to the track and just hear those engines. That's a big fan. That's how big of a fan I am. I just want to hear those engines, just scream, just whir. It's just how it is. But you mentioned a lot of times you watch all these different podcasts, but yet you say, "Oh, I don't want Danny to win," or this or that's. Like, dude, you dedicate your time watching Denny Hamlin's podcast, and you go, "I don't want Denny to win." Like, I go home having a nightmare if Denny won. It's just like, if you're watching his podcast, I don't get it. I mean, if I watch Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast, I know everybody's like Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans. But if you weren't a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, you watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. downloads. Once you want Dale Jr. to do good, so that way he has good podcasts.
You can listen to his podcast for information. It doesn't mean that I like him.
You just ramble a lot about Denny Hamlin. I was just like, I don't want Denny Hamlin to do good. I was just like, what is wrong with you?
The only thing Denny Hamlin's good for is two fingers. Okay? That's why he's called Two Finger.
But, yeah, so my thoughts about the Chicago street race. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Like, as Mark said, to pay $84 or something like that.
It's $275 before taxes. So
okay,
it's about $200 a person.
So, like, paying that much money to go up and watch the race, and I mean, this is their first year running it, so it's not like it's going to be like spectacular by any means. Like, you're probably going to sit in this big section, and you're going to see like the car go by, and that's it.
No, that's the general admission section. So you'll see a good, 3 or 4 turns.
That's still, nope. I ain't spending $275 to see 4 turns, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. But for TV perspective, I'm looking forward to it. You know why? Because NBC is back. They took over the rest half of this half of the season. So I'm excited to see, Dale in the booth, see the other announcers in the booth, the broadcasters. I hate saying this because I love all the broadcasters, Matt. No matter if they're annoying or no matter if they make mistakes, we're all human. I like seeing, sometimes you get annoyed watching the Fox people go and go and go and go for so many races on. What I think would be cool, and I know TV rights and all this wouldn't work out, but let's say Fox did a race, NBC did a race, Fox did a race, just kind of alternated races. I think that would be cool. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the street race, and I can say that because I can watch the whole track, on TV. I can see what's going on there,
Yeah, like you were saying, alternate. Do like MRN and PRN. Do the MRN broadcasts would be Fox. PRN would be NBC. I mean, they alternate, or they do like every other week or something. I don't know.
Or they do a amount of races, or they do a certain amount of races, like they do 3 or 4 in a row, and then NBC, you're kind of done, and then Fox comes in, and then they switch. So it'd be like every other 3 or 4 races that come in. I think that would be cool. But the street race, though, from the Youngs, Mark and I are excited about it. It's something different. We saw the LA Coliseum. That's off my list. That's off my thing to go even see. From the second year they did it, it's just, it's not what I thought it was going to be. Keep coming. And what I think would be cool is if now this would take some money from NASCAR, but in the summertime, the Legend cars race, and this is a perfect time to race again at Michigan. Now, since they say that NASCAR is the next gen car, is a road course car, why not add two other courses to the schedule? You know, I, you know, it might hit somebody in the heart, like maybe it just did Mark. But Michigan International Speedway has road course. They don't use it. They have rumble strips in the infield of a road course. They have IndyCar used to race there. Legend cars race in the summertime. They open up the track every now and then for the Legend car to race to test for road coursing. Let's see Michigan International Speedway's road course. I think it would be cool. I mean, no room for camping for people in the infield other than the drivers, but let's see something like that. Let's change something up.
Now that you brought up adding road courses, I've been hearing rumblings of the schedule for next year.
Okay.
There's going to be a road course swap.
With who?
Indy road course is no longer going to be on the schedule next year, from what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. It's going to go back to the oval. Seeing as how Auto Club is no longer, I think they are planning on moving Sonoma up in the schedule for the West Coast swing. I heard that we're going to be going up north to Montreal. We're going to have the road course in Montreal on the schedule next year, from what I've been hearing. Also, I heard that Bristol Dirt is no more, and Bristol will be losing a race, and I think North Wilkesboro is taking its place.
Okay. So after you said that, it's just like, kind of hits you, it's like, sure, it's reasonable why Bristol should lose race for, or whatever track is losing, Bristol's losing the race because North Wilkesboro is coming in. That's great. It's good to see Wilkesboro back, but fans, if you're in here paying attention, listening, make sure you use your comment section again. This is a good time for you guys to use the comment section. So Mark and I have talked about this, and I like what Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, and you probably said it to me before about Denny Hamlin. I think now after I mentioned, I'm going to share my idea. Mark's going to share his idea about the North Wilkesboro turnaround, whatever they need to do. And then I'm going to share what Denny Hamlin had to say. And I will guarantee you they will take Denny Hamlin's thing and they'll do it. Well, my take is let's change North Wilkesboro and let's make it concrete. The whole thing concrete. I don't care what the old people got to say. Sure, it was asphalt. It doesn't work anymore. It's not going to work. Just plain old asphalt like you'd pave like Michigan, Daytona, all these new tracks. It won't work. Now, not with this next gen car, now with the short track package, it won't work. Let's pave it concrete, and do something like put Coca-Cola syrup down. That was my idea. That way you could have multiple groups.
Okay, and you're not going to have to explain Denny Hamlin's because I agree with what he said. Different tire. Start out with a different tire, and if that don't work, repave it. That's what Denny Hamlin said, and I agree with him. If a new tire doesn't work, repave it. Do some progressive banking in the corners. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change my thing. I'm going to integrate what you said. It should be like Martinsville. Straightaways asphalt, the corners concrete, and bring a new tire.
That could be a good idea too. But what I don't know who it was. I think it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to say, you listen to Denny Hamlin's take. So what Denny Hamlin was basically saying was, so there's different forms of asphalt that you could do. So you could have the bottom groove asphalt or whatever and have no grip down on the bottom. And then change percentage in asphalt as you go up the middle of the track. And that'll be like more grippier surface. So that way they can run the high side. Well, the middle side, excuse me. And then they're going to have a more grippier surface up on the high side. So it would be pretty much 3 different asphalt surfaces. They would make a groove down on the bottom. They'd make another groove up top on the middle, and then they would make another groove up high. But it would all be leveled at the same, of course. But every single layer from bottom, middle to top would be completely different. And the bottom would have no grip. The middle would be 50, and then the top would be 100. So I kind of like that idea too, but concrete on the corners would be good, and asphalt would be good on the straights. But should we put, syrup on the corners if they're not grippy enough with the concrete, or you think the concrete would be good enough?
The concrete will be good enough. The corners will be like Dover. So the rubber will be laid down lap after lap after lap, and then caution laps. So it'll come back up, and then you'll lay new rubber back down when it goes green again. We do have another comment from Matthew. He said, "I feel like the next gen car has made the speedways and bigger tracks better racing, but the short tracks and road course need some help." Yeah, the mile and a halves have been phenomenal with the next gen car. Going back to your previous comment, Matt, about Chicago Street Course. I'm excited for it. I'm glad it's back in my area, but there's a dormant track for the last 3 years that's 20 minutes away from me. That's a mile and a half. And what have the next gen cars been doing this season and last season on mile and a half? Utilize it. And I agree. The mile and a half have been absolutely phenomenal with this car. The road courses have been, and the short tracks are just, you need work. Go back to the drawing board.
And it's just like, okay, is it the way that they made this new packages with these cars? Is it something that NASCAR in the off season's just got to be like, okay, we've had sucky races from the short tracks, or they're just going to let it slide. I don't think that's NASCAR. They're trying to find this car to be short track capability, speedway capability, super speedway, and road courses. But right now, it's not looking like short tracks is their thing. But it makes me mad that short tracks aren't their thing. It's not their strong suit. NASCAR, for crying out loud, was built on grassroots racing. Was built on short tracks. North Wilkes-Barre was, Jeff Gordon's place, Jimmy Johnson's place. All the old school guys are probably no longer race in the series besides a big quadrant of them still race today. But NASCAR, okay, if you guys are not a NASCAR fan, you guys got to pay attention. And NASCAR's got to pay attention. NASCAR was built on short tracks. It wasn't built on the super speedways. They ran on the dirt. Then they finally went to asphalt. But NASCAR didn't have that much money back in the day. So what did they run? They ran short tracks because they could afford to pave the tracks and have those people watch the races. And I think next year, NASCAR should hone in and take responsibility and say, hey, short tracks were shitty. Like, we got to fix those. And all Mark and I can do when we're on here in the pod is just explain and express our feelings, emotions, and our opinions. We're NASCAR fans. NASCAR probably won't watch this. If you guys share it, they will.
Yep. And yeah, we're just fans. It's a opinionated podcast. And Jacob, you just made me realize something. And I know it's been, announced before the season started. This is Harvick's last season, but it's 20 races left. It's just now hitting me that he's the last Winston Cup driver that's active.
Right.
It's just now hitting me.
It's crazy. I talked to my brother the other day, and we were talking about it. We get emotional a little bit. We go back and pass and talk about our time growing up with dad. My uncle was a phenomenal dirt racer in the dirt car Hall of Fame. Won 500 feature wins on the dirt. 13 track championships and everything went his way. So racing's all I ever known. And I was talking to my brother, and I was like, dude, can you believe this is like our 12th or 13th year this year going to be going to, MIS? Like, we went to Michigan ever since we were 5 or 4 years old, and I rode a dirt bike since I was 3 years old before I learned how to ride a bicycle without training wheels. So motors and going fast was my kind of strong suit. But I told him, I said, dude, I watch, and Mark can attain to this too. We watch so many races that we can't. Hell, I can't remember some of the winners. It's just throughout all the years you watch races, I probably watched 120 different drivers come and go, and I probably watched 2,000 different races. In my time this far, it's crazy emotionally wise. It's sad we don't see the cars that are behind us in this background anymore. Those were actually the true, cars to actually watch. And now we're trading it for a modernized car that I never saw NASCAR going into. But, in the end, it's driver safety. It's the crew safety. It's the fan safety. Hell, these tires on these cars, guys, they have a string that is attached. Like if the tire was to malfunction, it has a tire string that's attached to the tire so they don't come up and hit the fans. When they had these Gen 6, Gen 5s, they didn't have that. A fan maybe got killed in the stands. It's different, and it's hard. It's hard to watch Kevin Harvick as a kid, and when you're growing up, you finally realize, okay, this is it. Watching Kevin Harvick, but we're still excited to see him around the sport in the booth. But that's different.
Now, I know we're going a little long, but I just have one last thing, because it's not going to pertain to tomorrow's podcast since we're just a NASCAR thing. But did you watch Le Mans over the weekend?
I did not.
I watched a little bit of it. They didn't have too much coverage on the Garage 56 car, but
I did see that though.
Did you see how much bigger it was?
Yeah, the car.
It was like 2 times bigger than those prototypes in front of it.
Yeah, it was heavier too.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I seen on Twitter a video on Twitter of the front, not the front stretch, but one of the long speed stretches.
Yeah,
you hear the prototypes coming, and then here comes the Garage 56. Whoa. And then now the GT's coming behind. It was crazy.
And you know, I don't know. It's awesome. It's awesome to see a NASCAR next gen car pretty much go into this different series and actually be competitive. I mean, this car
Yeah,
wasn't just dead last. You know, it was something that was actually competitive. It was the only car that was different.
yeah, and it. I mean, they finished 39th overall. Granted, who was it? Not Button, but it was Button, Johnson, and I can't remember the other person, the other driver, but the third driver was in it, and the transaxle broke. So they were in the garage for maybe an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. But they ended up they did fix it and finish the race. So the race overall, in my opinion, and what I've been hearing, was a success. All the Europeans over there loved it. They were glamoring over it. Um, I honestly, I would love to see this again. I kind of wish the car was in a class of its own, because they tried entering it in the GTE class, or
Hmm.
I think that's what it was called, but it was so much faster than those cars. They kind of kicked it out of the class and said, "Hey, just go ahead in front of us because we don't want to be run over by you,"
Yeah.
sort of thing. I would love to see this NASCAR the stock car. Sorry, it's a NASCAR stock car in the Le Mans. Um, I would love to see it do like all four races next year. Sebring, Le Mans, Rolex 24, and I can't remember the other one. I think it's another European track, but I would love to see it do the four course uh, schedule, or they may have more courses, but I would love to see the four major races that is on that schedule.
Okay. So you just mentioned in that case that I kind of want to get into. But you had a message from Matthew Young. He's asking you a question before we get to the next phase.
Do I? Okay. Do you feel like 83 will improve as the season goes, despite Kyle winning three times this year? I do see him improving. He's been in some bad luck situations that wasn't his fault.
We'll
Uh,
get when we'll get into all those situations tomorrow as well.
yeah, I do see him improving. Um, they will. I see them. Corresponding notes. I mean, 83 is AD3 is the person who brought KFB to RCR. I mean, why would he not improve? Uh, Bringing this high profile driver in. I mean, when the announcement happened last year, we all seen the interview with Austin. Um, when he was his championship truck year, he had no idea that what he was going to do the next season, because I think he was only on a 2-year deal for the trucks. Um, I mean, Kyle came and asked him to run the Xfinity program for KBM if he had nothing going on, but uh, Austin, said thank you and he'll consider it. And then we all seen what happened. He drove the three for RCR for 2 years in the Xfinity series, or nationwide at the time.
Xfinity series, same
It,
thing, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah, pretty much. It's Xfinity, Bush, whatever you want to call it. But obviously, talent knows talent. Kyle's seen something in Austin. Austin knows Kyle because of what Kyle has done, obviously, throughout his career. And as uh, I as much as I love RCR, they're not a top tier team. Um, Unfortunately, I wish they still were. But if you go back in history with RCR, they have going back to Dale Senior's days. The equipment lessened and lessened over the years, which is why Dale Senior didn't win as much. Obviously, he was trying to grow his own business with DEI, but um, it went it went from a top tier team to a mid tier team. And Harvick, when after Senior died, Harvick, tried to bring it to a top tier team, but you know, driver talent and equipment need to be on the same level. And the equipment, RCR's equipment wasn't really there as much. I mean, Harvick had a lot of wins with RCR. Uh, Jeff Burton had some wins with RCR. We've seen a couple wins with Clinton Boyer. I think we've seen a win with Ryan Newman.
Yep.
Um, but the equipment wasn't there, and it's still not. But as we progress with Kyle Busch, I believe the equipment's going to progress where AD where Austin is going to progress. So yes, I do see improvement in all folds.
It's a conveyor. To me, it's a conveyor belt. It's a timeline of RCR. The time Austin got Kyle over, and got that deal all squared away. It's about how Kyle fit into the team, and he's fitting in well. He's fitting in well at RCR, and it's how Kyle has got all these wins. He's going to come back for next year. He's going to get a contract extension once his contract's up. He's going to have all these different things go on, and it's just going to make Austin and the team better, overall. Which we'll get into that a little tomorrow, since we won't have a whole lot to talk about from the races, is what I believe as. But Mark just mentioned something to me. So the Rolex 24-hour race. These races, have multiple drivers come in. We saw Frick. We saw a lot of NASCAR drivers come in and say, "Oh, I like the Rolex 24. Let's go do it." And seeing the garage 56 car go in and kick some butt at these other foreign races, what does it mean that this car can't come in to the Rolex 24, come kick some butt? But Mark, here's a catch though. So we saw some NASCAR drivers this past year hop in the Rolex 24. So my thing is, there's four drivers, I believe, in the Rolex 24 for the car wise. So from the NASCAR side, what kind of drivers do you see come into that car? Since it will be a Chevrolet, pretty much, what drivers from the Chevrolet camp do you see come into it? Now, this could be a megastar team. Every single driver would be a Chevrolet guy.
Rolex 24 could be anybody, because that's before the season starts. I would like to see.
And there's four drivers, right?
Three.
There's three drivers for the car?
Yeah. At least that's what the Garage 56 did for their team. It was a three person. I don't know all the rules for it. I think it's only three people. let's uh Kyle Larson for one. Um, KFB. Maybe Chastain. I mean, yeah, I would have to go with Chastain.
Tough pick. So my guy I'm gonna have to pick is Kyle Larson. I'm gonna piggyback off of you. Go Kyle Busch. And then I am going to have to go with oh, no other than Austin Dillon. You know, Austin had some time in a little car um, before the season began for the NASCAR season this year. Showed a lot of good speed in a car that's foreign wise against foreign competition with Kyle Busch. I think they could lean on all each other. Um, Maybe Austin could be that first stint driver, and then you put Kyle Busch um, second stint driver, and then you put Kyle Larson third stint driver. You know, that way you kind of have Kyle Larson's a wheelman. So if he has to make up spots, time, this or that, he can do that. Austin can start the race and manage the race until Kyle has to jump in the car. Um, so it's just the way you stage it all. But that's all I really had for the Rolex.
Yeah, I was trying to go from different teams and wasn't trying to you know make two drivers from the same team or whatnot.
Yeah, it is what it is. But
I would say Austin would be my backup driver if something were to happen. Though,
but you said it could be anybody. So I mean, it could
well,
be a
yeah.
Toyota guy too.
Well, not if it's a Chevy car.
Well, that's true too. But if they have Toyota, that'd be pretty cool. But I
Yeah.
can't see that
So
happen.
okay, so let's go here. You have your Chevy car. I gave my Chevy drivers. Your Toyota if Toyota enters, my Toyota drivers would be Truex, Reddick, and Bell.
Just like that.
Hey, these are road courses. I'm thinking of road course people.
Uh, Truex. You're not gonna like what I'm gonna say. Gibbs.
He'd be my backup driver.
Gibbs, and then Hamlin.
Okay,
Good.
that's fine.
And then Ford. Turning it off.
Ford, McDowell, Busher, and Cendric.
Oh,
All road course people.
yeah, that is true. So, do they have to be in the same series?
No, they don't have to be in the same series. I'm just going out of the cup. I don't know too many of the. I watch the Xfinity, but I don't know too many of the drivers.
Cole
Well,
Custer, Ryan Blaney. Oh, just trying to throw myself away.
Blaney has one road course win, and that's the Roval on an accident.
Hey, you never said what guy. He could be my first driver.
True.
Haley Deegan. Haley Deegan. She showed potential. She showed potential in an Xfinity car.
Uh, folks, tomorrow I'll be doing the podcast by myself.
No, Haley Deegan's not going to be on the team. Had to throw a wrench in there. Um, man,
Oh, with
Logano.
Logano,
Yeah.
he's
Hey,
what
it's
has
my
he done
team.
on a road course?
It's my
What
team.
what has he done on a road course?
It's my team.
True. Briscoe will be my backup driver.
Briscoe. Riley Herbst would be my backup driver. But, well, that's a good little segment there. My name's Jacob Rickwalt.
I'm Mark Schisler.
This is Racing Solutions. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Matthew Young for tuning in. Thank you to all the fans for your guys' support. Uh, you know, it's easier when we have more people in here watching Mark and I do these podcasts. And we hope that everybody enjoys this off weekend. And hopefully we can go big racing this next upcoming week.
Yep. Tune in tomorrow for NASCAR Paradise, and we will be off next week because there will be no content to talk about this weekend.
And it's Father's Day, so enjoy Father's Day with your family members, and make sure you guys get your dad something. Hopefully the family gets you something good there, Mark. So, but anyways, we'll catch you guys later, and have a good night.
Yep. Later.